Well, hello there, friends and family. So glad to see you again. And as you can see, old Mr. Tom, we're out on the front porch. And we survived another storm. Yes, we did. But that's not what this video is about. Yeah, storms seem to be getting more intense. Poor old Alabama's had at least 64 tornadoes just this year in 2021. Rather amazing, I must say myself. A lot of destruction. Over 20 counties impacted. But like I said, that's just not what we're discussing today. And I've thought long and I've thought hard about when this time came, would I share this publicly with all of y'all? And originally, I thought I wouldn't. Because what we're going to be talking about, my actions and decisions, and the topic is very controversial and very decisive. Yep, as the case may be. And you might be wondering what all that's about. Well, I want to premise this video is, I've already taken the action, made the decision, and I did that because of my own personal, not beliefs. Because you don't make a decision of this impact on beliefs. You don't make it because of opinions. You do your research as much as you can or want to. You look at your own personal life. Each one of us is different. Each one of us has certain personal situations, whether they be financial, work-related, health-related, or what have you. And I know many of y'all, another factor that comes into mind is age. I would say the vast majority of my viewers are anywhere from mid-40s up to 80 or more. Y'all account for over 80% of my viewers. And I'm ever so thankful for that. We're all in this together. Most of us are, we're getting over that hill. We're heading downhill now. God willing, we still got a long way to go. So you might wonder what old Mr. Tom's talking about today. Well, this gets back to the decision whether I'd make this private or public. My channel's always been about documenting my life, things I do, and it's rather sporadic. We do all kinds of things. Gardening, cooking, driving around, looking at historical sites, telling you a little bit about the South and Alabama, about my experiences in my life. We do a little bit of storytelling. And all kinds of things. We talk about wild edibles, about nature, birds, and other critters. But because many of you have asked for my thoughts and opinions, and here again, I don't have an opinion. As an engineer with an analytical mind, the way I attack things is, I dig. I dig as hard as I can into the subject matter. And then I try to make the appropriate decision based on science, fact, data, all those kind of things. And then choose the right course of action. But since many of you have asked what I was going to do with this particular subject, after long thought, I decided to go ahead and release this video to you, the public. I had to make it anyway because I wanted to document it for my children, my grandson, close family and friends. So why not make it to public for all of y'all? Now I will say this. Let's keep it civil in the comments. And let me tell you, my decision wasn't political, wasn't faith-based. I have no agenda, no narrative. I just tried to do it on the data and the facts. And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be 100%. Hell, you're going to be lucky if it's going to be 70 to 80%. But it is what it is. And this is a personal decision, one each of us has to make based on our own research, thoughts, and convictions. So what is old Mr. Tom talking about today? Well, he's talking about the vaccine. Oh yeah, for the COVID-19. And up until this point, April 11th, 2021, I've taken a wait and see. And all during that time, as soon as the vaccines have came out, I've spent an inordinate amount of time reading, researching, and digging. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I might not miss something. And I'm no doctor. I'm no ophthalmologist. I'm just a little old process engineer that looks at everything analytical and methodical. I do not make decisions lightly, trust me that. So, with all that said, I've looked in to the vaccines that are available here in the U.S. And of those that are available, we've got the top three. That's the Moderna. That's also the Pfizer, both of which are a two-shot, two-dose vaccine for COVID. Then what we've got is the Johnson & Johnson, which is fairly late to the party. It's a one-dose. I looked at all three of those. Now with that said, there's more than those three. There's the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is primarily being given out outside the U.S., Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Africa. Not sure why. Then you've got the Chinese variation of the vaccine, which is also being given to many other different countries. I'm not concerned with those two. I had to be concerned with the three that are available here in the U.S. primarily, and that being the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson. Single dose. So, I did my research on it. I read everything the CDC had. I went to their websites, read everything they had, and I've read about side effects. I've read about those who've had some adverse reactions, some that were mild, others were moderate, and on occasion rather severe. Now, I also did the research into these claims by certain people on social media, which will go unnamed, that say, outlandish things like they're going to make us all sterile. It's going to change our DNA. It's going to give us the virus. And as far as I can tell from all my research, which I don't say, is 100% complete, and by all means, I may have missed something. That's what I'm saying. If you watch this video and make your decision just on what old Mr. Tom's saying, you're doing it wrong. You need to make your decision. Maybe this will inspire you to dig deeper. And as always, I suggest you pray over this, because I did. I prayed in earnest. I talked with God. But not only God, I talked with my own doctors. As y'all know, I had a doctor's visit that was required of me this here past Friday. Had to go into him. And I talked to him about the vaccination, about the jab or shot or Jabberwocky or whatever you want to call it. And I asked him what his opinion was. Well, to my surprise, and this is a young man, fine, healthcare provider. Well, he's actually, I think, a nurse practitioner is what they call them nowadays. And he has my respect. But I asked him, when he asked me had I had the vaccine yet, which I replied, no. Well, he said, he'd recommend I did. Well, that wasn't enough for me. I had to ask him why and what his thoughts were. Well, unbeknownst to me, he got COVID. And apparently, he had a very severe case. And that, what he told me is the worst time in his life, and it took him out and down for over 3 weeks. Yep. Now, many of y'all know that have been with the channel for quite some time know my son got it. And he had fairly mild symptoms. What James said was, sort of like, 2-3 days the worst flu he ever had. But he admitted that. And I will say this, my son James, of course, has already had COVID, has opted not to get the vaccine. Where on the other hand, my daughter Ashley, which has severe medical conditions, and my grandson Davey, which has also some medical issues, have opted to get it when it's available for them. And as of this week, it is available for those 16 and older, all throughout the state. Now that will get my daughter Ashley, but still not my grandson Davey. So with all that said, I discussed it in great detail with my healthcare provider and I made my decision. Of course, I'd already, like I said, done a whole lot of research on it. I knew the effectiveness of the Moderna was about 94.1%. Pfizer's 95%. And this is on an average, folks. And I'm going to leave some links. These are going to be to the CDC. I'm not going to do all your work for you. That show you the efficacy rate. And that's basically the effectiveness rate of the different vaccines. Here again, Moderna, 94.1 on average. But when they break it down over age groups, you're going to see that change quite a bit. From young folk to old folk. Same with Pfizer. And then I'm going to show you, also leave a link down below, for the Johnson & Johnson, which to me, I'll tell you straight up and down, I wouldn't take. Because what I found, and what the CDC shows, it's 66.1% average effective rate. I mean, come on. Just 16% better than 50-50. Now, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to take one up there in the 90s. In my mind, that's a better gamble. Now, I did look at all the side effects. All of them. A lot of people reported fatigue. A lot of people had other issues. A lot of people had a lot of pain around the injection site, which I took mine right here. As I just gave away, yep, I decided to take it. Which is right here in my left arm. And I'll tell you what, right here, from about here, top of my shoulder, down to about mid-bicep, it got rather tender and sore. In fact, it was painful for the first day. I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough than me, you'll remember when we used to go around, I don't remember the reason why, but especially this was guys and sometimes gals, we'd go up right there in the socket of your shoulder, and we'd pop you with our fist. For the life of me, I can't remember why we did that. But we did. And it hurt like hell. Excuse my language. And it would stay with you a day or two. Well, that's the only thing I can compare it to. Now, second day it got less. Third day it got less. Then here we are Sunday. I got it this past Thursday, by the way. And that. Did I have a fever? No. Was I more tired than usual? No. Was I throwing up, nausea? Was I doing any of that? No. In fact, other than my arm being sore as hell, and it was, and I admit it, that's been it. Vision didn't get blurry. I haven't had hallucinations. I can go down through all the list of side effects, which they get pretty scary. But that's the way all vaccines have ever been. If you dig in, do your research. Polio, chickenpox, measles, malaria. I've had so many shots in my life. And anybody who's been in government service or military service and has been stationed overseas or in conflict in other countries, you'll know. You get pumped up. Yeah. With a lot of shots. Because if you don't, you're going to get something. And I'm going to tell you what, malaria ain't nothing to mess with either. And I know some people, based on religious beliefs, nope, they're not going to get it. And I respect that, as I hope all of you respect my decision. Some do it based on purely political beliefs or affiliations. That I don't get. Others do it because they listen to whack jobs that have no experience, no background, and give sources that they won't even identify. They'll say arbitrary things like, this amount of nurses or this amount of doctors ain't getting it. They don't give out names. And I even seen this week, of course the decision was already made, where they surveyed U.S. Marines, and 40% of them said they ain't going to give it. Of course, now you got to understand, if I had to bet, most every one of them are young people. And this gets back to the point of one of the important reasons why I came to the decision that I came to, okay? Well, y'all, I'm back. Had to go to the car, pick up my paperwork. Yep. That they gave me after I made my decision. But it didn't tell me nothing I didn't already know. And that. But how did I come to my decision? Well, after reading about all possible side effects and any medication you take, Lord, I take one of the most generic blood pressure medicines there is, and it's got a list of possible side effects, about that deep. All medications do. Nothing's ever perfect, and we all know that. People's immune systems are all different. I mean, everything from, and we know this too, we know genetics, sorry to say, have a great impact on how we react to things, how long we live, and all that, what affects us, what don't. Diets do. Environmental conditions do. Stress does. Mental issues does. Depression, anxiety, and what have you. It gets back to pretty much no two people are alike. But when it comes to something like this, we want it to be 100% safe for everyone. Ain't ever gonna happen. So you gotta roll the dice. I'll roll the dice at 94 to 95, not 66. And you'll know what that means, because you'll know Moderna's 94, Pfizer's 95, and Johnson & Johnson's 66, single dose. And I'll bet a whole lot of people, especially those who don't like shots and still want to get the vaccine, will pick Johnson & Johnson. To me, the odds just aren't right on that one. But anyway, got all my paperwork here. And, I'm not going to put it on camera because that's a little hard out here in outdoor environment and that. But I know many of y'all gonna say, well, it's Excuse me for the camera wobble. I know many of y'all gonna say, well, you know, they're all saying that, and you know, and I know many of y'all gonna bring up, well, this nurse, these doctors, whatever, said this, said that. See, I don't want to hear all that. My decision's made. And I'm not going to debate this in the comments or argue about it. The point of the video is how I came with mine. I did the research on all three. Probably spent way more time than most people in that, and I was still leery. But after my healthcare providers and talking to them, how bad they had it, knowing that my son had mild to moderate, but in 8 of his close friends that got it, him and 6 others had all mild to moderate symptoms. But if you'll remember, one of his friends had to be hospitalized and put in intensive care. Oh yeah, I told you about it. So they give you this little packet of information after you go down and decide you're going to do this. Now, here in my state or in my community, you just couldn't walk in. Nope, you had to be put on the list and referred by your healthcare provider if you were 65 or less than 65 years old at the time that I took mine. Now that wouldn't be the case today because governor has opened it up to everybody from 16 and older. But as of last Thursday, that was not the case. So I mean, this goes through why is it safe, how to participate, how long do Be Safe check-ins last. I mean, you can actually sign up on a website in that and participate in letting them know what side effects you had and that, and they'll track it. I haven't done that because other than a sore arm, that's it so far. Now, all that being said, what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and this is now Sunday, this on just about 4 days. Now, what vaccine did I take? Well, like I told my doctor after a long discussion in his office, I told him which one I wasn't going to take, and that was the Johnson & Johnson. So I asked him which one was being offered in my community, and he said that was the Moderna. I said, yep. If I was going to take one, I was going to take that one. Why? Because here again, in comparison to the others, so far, and this may change, it's the most effective, especially against these variants that are coming up, which is extremely important. I just saw today on my news feed that the Pfizer is not so effective against the African variant, where the Moderna is. I didn't waste no time looking at Johnson & Johnson because, I mean, right now it doesn't make any difference in that. But they do give you this packet. The one thing that I missed, well, I didn't miss, sort of kind of suspected, and that. And hold on a minute while I get through this. Now, one key thing I want to bring up, there's a lot of people out there, and initially I thought so too, that this would change our DNA. No, it don't. This is a mRNA vaccine. Oh yeah, it's groundbreaking technology. And even though our government and all of our politicians and many of our healthcare providers say, you know, it's approved by the FDA, it's approved under an emergency action because of the pandemic. In fact, right here in my little packet they gave me, it's been approved for emergency use authorization. Yep. So you need to know that. I mean, to me, it makes no difference. And it also tells you what the ingredients in the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine are. And the vaccine contains the following ingredients: a messenger ribonucleic acid lipids. And you're going to have to look all that up. But basically what this does, it's a spike protein. And what it's doing, the reason they call it a messenger, is it sends a set of instructions, basically lays a plan or groundwork in your body so that your own body's immune system will recognize the virus and produce antibodies to fight it. And that's another thing that's real important to understand. And that is, another important thing to understand is, will the vaccine, any of them, prevent you from getting COVID-19? And this is one that I struggled with for a while. But once I dug deeper into it, deeper into other vaccines, I understood it. Now understand, they're not shooting COVID-19 into you. This isn't like vaccines of old, where they shot live virus into you. We learned from that. It's not a good thing. It's not like the flu shot. And for all of you know, they don't shoot you with the flu. It's what they shoot you with is what's called as a dead virus. It's not a live virus. And it triggers your immune system to produce antibodies against the flu. This is all fact. You can look it up. And I hope you do. Hope you do your own research and that. But when reading this, and I already suspected it because I had read several other things where this does not prevent you from getting COVID-19. And I know you've read and I've read and you've seen people talk about it where, oh yeah, they got the COVID-19 shot on Thursday, and 2 days later or a day later they got COVID. Oh, come on, people. If you can't see that ain't agenda driven. That's just like saying, okay, I went and got the flu shot yesterday, and today I got the flu. It takes a while from the time a virus of any kind enters your body. We all know this from high school. Enters your body to incubate and breed to the point where it affects your health. You have symptoms and you know you got it. We all know that. And if you don't, then maybe you need to go back to school. Maybe high school. Hell, maybe junior high. Because I think that's when we used to cover it. Maybe not now. Anyway, we all know that. So that's all garbage. But I mean, people keep bringing it up. Well, he got the jab. 3 days later, got it. And here on the other point, like I say, what this does is gives your body a way of recognizing it, and then to produce antibodies from your own immune system to fight it. So if you do get it, the CV-19, you may not even know it, especially if you're eating right, abstaining from alcohol, smoking, all these other things that are bad for you. Eating a nutrient-dense diet, which is hard for us poor folk and seniors do, granted that you'll just brush it right off. Won't even know it came and gone. Or your symptoms will be so mild you might think you got a cold. But you'll get one of these, and I think, you do have some time from the time, they give you your paperwork and you sign in, do all that, and I'm not sure how it's going to work in your particular area, before they come and ask you which arm you want it. I got it here in the left. And because I had read about that. And one of the most common symptoms or adverse reactions is pain in the injection site and pain localized in your arm. But hey, come on, folks. Any of y'all out there, especially government service, military, first responder, you know, your arm gets sore after shots. And especially with what we do right prior to them injecting us in. And they always say relax your arm. And you try to, but you're already anxious. I don't think none of us like shots. And then they poke you. Well, as soon as they poke you, even before they inject whatever it is into you, that muscle tenses up. All of which is going to make it all the more painful. And then they shoot it on in. I mean, I don't care if they put it in your arm, your butt, thigh, or whatever, and I've had them everywhere. Sometimes when I was going out country, you get so darn many, you get them in the left, the right, and at least one butt cheek. But I'm still here, you know. But I'm not going to go into great detail. All I'm going to say is, I did my research. I looked into all of them. I looked at the pros and cons, and then my final decision making was not only discussing it with my healthcare provider. I had experience with family members and friends that have had it. And because I do have a YouTube channel, a little over 15,300 of you fine people now, unfortunately, I've had to hear about so many of you out there that have lost family members. You see, I can't be one of these, and of course nobody says it anymore. You know, it used to be pretty popular during the early part of 2020, middle part to even to 3/4 in. Well, I don't even know anybody who's died of COVID-19. Then we wanted to say everybody in the healthcare system were crooks. Anything you die from being put down for CV-19. I'm never going to believe that, because I don't believe all healthcare providers, all the fine doctors, nurses, and what have you, in hospitals are a bunch of crooks and liars. Nope, just not going to believe that. I think the odds of that are pretty impossible. Now, with that said, on the other hand, would I say the same of politicians? Oh, absolutely not. You don't know, politicians decide to lie from the time they decide to take office. Yeah. There may be a few out there, but they're going to be in the minority. Anyway, my last final decisions to make that made me say yes to all this was my own personal health issues. We already all know, and many people bring it up, that there's contributing factors to dying from the virus. Respiratory issues are right up there in the top one or two. And as all of you know, I have COPD, mild to moderate emphysema. Not good to have a respiratory virus hit Mr. Tom. It's not good with a cold. It's not good with the flu. It's not good out here sitting with all of y'all in another high pollen day. Thankfully there's a little wind, and the rain we just had, storms cleared the air out some. Even my nose sniffling a little bit still, and will for another few weeks. But then on top of that, I got high blood pressure. Yep. Then there's my age. Now, I know many of y'all are going to say, well, oh, Mr. Tom, you just spring chicken. Well, I understand that. But with every year, and we all know this has affected those with health conditions and underlying issues, and those older than any other age group. Children, young teens, people in their 20s and 30s, not so much. Though some of these new variants are starting to take a heavier toll on those age groups. And I pray to God that does not continue. And I'm quite aware that coronaviruses continue to mutate. I told you about that in the beginning. And they'll continue to mutate. I also told you, we called this the COVID-19, but it's actually SARS-CoV-2. It's a SARS virus. The original SARS-CoV-1, which scared the world, mutated over nearly a 6-month period, become benign. This bad boy ain't yet become benign. And that. And with all states now starting to open all up and go wide ass open again. Of course, Alabama's been doing that now for, we never really did lock down. I'd say best 40%, maybe 50. But we've been wide open. School's been back for quite some time now. And mask wearing is sort of hit or miss, but our mask mandate stopped on the 9th. And this is now the 11th. I still wear mine. And that's another thing. Once you get the shot and people will publicize this and they still tell you got to wear a mask. Still wash your hands. Still social distance. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It takes time to build up antibodies. You can look that up. It don't matter whether it's CV-19 or what it is. It takes time. There's no shot. You get it and walk right out 30 seconds later to a day later and go, whoa, I'm invincible. That don't work that way. But it takes time. And what they're telling us is about 2 weeks. But even then, we got people say the flu's gone. No, it ain't. You can go up CDC. There's still flu, albeit it's way less this year than in many years past. And something I'm going to say about that, too, because I'm just tired of, well, where'd all the flu go? This is just the flu. Whenever in your lifetime has countries masked up, put so much effort into keeping proper hand hygiene, staying away from people, self-isolating, and doing everything we've been doing ever before in your lifetimes. It ain't happened. So of course the flu is going to be hardly nothing. If you ever travel to an Asian country during the cold and flu season, they mask up. Oh yeah. I've been there, seen it. Japan, China, Taiwan, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. They're used to wearing masks anyway, because at times, especially in China, their air quality sucks. But anyway, I took all my health considerations and issues that affect me into consideration as well. I took what my healthcare providers said. I did my research the very best I could, and I'll guarantee you I got many hundreds of hours in it. And I ain't going to go through all that today. I am going to leave some links down below the description box of the video to the CDC that gives you outlines of each of these 3 vaccines, the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson. I'm not going to worry much with the AstraZeneca or Chinese or whatever other variations there are. And that's what I'm going to do for you. And if you're, like I said, do not make your decision because Mr. Tom made his. See, I don't know your personal situation. I do know some of y'all's. I don't know all your health issues. A lot of times I don't know your ages, family situations. See, it just gets complicated. But there's one thing that I didn't let influence my decision. That was politics. But I have some people, so-called friends. Oh yeah, because so-and-so said this and so-and-so didn't get it, and I'm this or I'm that. I ain't getting it. Well, good for you. Hope it all works out for you. And we got the anti-vaxxers that don't want to take anything. They won't even get a tetanus shot. I'm going to tell you what, lockjaw ain't no joke. I've seen it. If you do research on tetanus, It ain't about just the jaw. It's about your whole body. Welcome to what they call an iron lung. Till you die. No. And I understand for those who don't want to get vaccinated on anything, that's your personal decision and your personal right as far as I'm concerned. Now, y'all, I shared with you how I come about, the action I took, the decision I made in that. But finally, with my daughter, which does have some extremely severe health issues, and my grandson, I felt as a father that, you know, I should step up. She had already made her decision, but she hasn't received it, nor has Davy. And that weighed heavily on my mind. And I thought, you know, you ain't gonna stop my daughter once she makes up her mind. And that bothered me too. So like a good daddy, I thought, I better go there first. I better see. And if indeed, because my genetics transferred to her genetics, not, you know, totally, because, you know, she's a product of me and her mother and her mother's family. If there were going to be some serious adverse reactions or side effects, or old Papa going to die or something, you know what? I'd rather it be me first than my daughter or my grandson. So that was sort of the final, I guess you'd say, the final pin in the plan. I stepped up. So far I haven't regretted it. Now I admit my arm was sore in hell, and I like to sleep on my side. I normally go to sleep on my back and then roll over sometime at night. When I rolled over on that there left arm, oh, I shot right on upright I did. Of course, Trixie and Gracie didn't know what in the Lord was going on, since both of them sleep on top of me. So I don't know what more I can say, but if you're watching this video, I'm still alive, still well, still got the same health issues, COPD, emphysema, high blood pressure. My temperature's been fine the whole time, anywhere from 97.6 to 98.3. I ain't overly tired, any more than usual. I can still smell, still taste. Now, ham was delicious. So was my ham sandwich last night. Thank you. I just don't have any other adverse reactions. But that don't mean you won't. So think hard, think long, weigh the benefits and the risks. And I know people are always saying, well, if it won't prevent it, why even get it? I don't know how more to explain it is. It helps your body fight it off. Yeah, it's not a golden bullet, but it's the only bullet we got in the gun. So y'all down in the comments, let's keep it civil, keep it respectful. Let's don't argue, say things we'll regret. Don't attack me personally or anybody in the community. And I'm not going to argue and debate it down in the comments either. And people get crazy down there, oh, I'll remove your comment. If it gets personal, whether to me or attacking a community member or what have you, I'll just block you. And I've only ever blocked 5 people in all the years I've had a channel, since 2012. But I know this video is going to be controversial and divisive. But that's another thing I'd like to leave you with. If you're going to all of a sudden unsubscribe, leave the community because of a decision I made personally based on my own personal circumstances, health issues, research, and what have you. Now I'm going to tell you something right here, right now. I didn't need you, and this community didn't need you, because you haven't matured enough to be part of this community. No. We don't argue and fight. We don't debate. I read every comment ever posted. I try to give everybody a thumbs up and a heart. Pretty much I do. Sometimes I get way behind in that. But if you get a heart, I've read it. And I give everybody a thumbs up just for the effort it took for you to type it, whether I agree with you or not. And there are times where it's not arguing, but I'll state in a video something like I'm doing now, and then the comment will bring it up, and I'll state it again, and then people want to get angry and debate it further. I don't do that. This video, as every video, whether it's cooking, gardening, driving, historical, going to the moon or Mars, or whatever have you, is all about documenting my life in the latter years for my children, my grandson, my family members, and my friends, which now so many of y'all have become friends as well. And I'm going to continue, if something pops up and I have an issue, and I still got to take the second dose, May 16th, I believe it is. It's on my card. And yep, you get a vaccination card, which I know is another hot topic too. Well, you're going to have that to travel, to leave your state, to go on airplanes. I haven't seen that happen yet. Some countries are doing it. Some states are doing it. But this is something I want to leave you with. Do I think any of the southeastern or southwestern states will do that? No. That's one thing that makes the United States far better than any other country in the world. States have rights. The federal government cannot force a state really to do anything. If the state don't want to and is willing to give up something, now they can threaten us, well, take away our highway money, take away our health care fund, whatever. Okay. The southeast, southwest, we can remember the days in our lifetime where we didn't get any of that anyway. So they can go piss off. Other states, based on political affiliation or what have you, they'll toe the line. I'm glad I live in the South, because we either like it or we don't. And that's just the way we are. So y'all, I've rambled enough about all this. And I'm sure I'll do another follow-up after my second dose, several days afterwards. I am still wearing my mask. I am still got hand sanitizer, washing my hands, and keeping social distancing. All makes sense to me. I've taken, it's better to be safe than sorry approach all throughout this. Many of y'all have taken even far greater precautions than me. But you'll know I was self-isolated all here by my little old self for over 80 days. Can't remember how many, 86, 90. And for the most part, I'm still that way. Except to go out and do a random shop and grab. In fact, I ain't even videoed the last two, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to take the time in the store. I saw an opening, there wasn't many people, boom, went in, run around, got what I need on my list, and I got out. Because when I take y'all in there, it takes time. Yeah, it's the only reason. I'm not going to apologize for it. But I hope after listening to Old Man ramble here on the front porch and this beautiful day here in Alabama, that you'll take the time. Don't listen to YouTubers. And you say, wait, we're listening to you, Mr. Tom. I ain't telling you to listen to me to make a decision. I'm telling you how I made mine And I hope it inspires you to do due diligence, research, and all that before you make yours. Okay? It's a personal decision. It's your personal right. Make whatever decision you feel is right for you, your family, loved ones, children, grandchildren too. Yep. That's what I did. I didn't do it to make a YouTube video. And I did not do it to keep up following, agenda, keep the advertising money flowing in, or what have you. As all of y'all know, I'll make a dime off this. It just costs me money. And sometimes here late, I often wonder if it's all worth it. And then I look at the pictures hanging on the wall of my son, my daughter, and my grandson. It reminds me it's worth it. As well as many of y'all out there. So y'all, I've got Trixie bellowing in the house, wanting fed. It's getting to be, probably around 4:30. So it's food time for her. You know, she's old and cranky, and when she gets to bellowing, I have to get on in there and do it regardless of time. I'm not even sure if Gracie was sitting behind me on the screen door. I ain't looked. I do think Spooky come up a little bit, nosed on me a few times. But I hope you still love old Mr. Tom. Like I said, if you leave the channel and unsubscribe and all that and give me thumbs down, that ain't going to deter me none. I'm still going to be Mr. Tom, and I'm still the captain of my own boat, no matter what. So until we see you on the next video, y'all take care out there. Stay safe. And God bless you, your family, friends, and loved ones. Goodbye for now. Yep, I'm sure this is going to stir up more crap. Then a sewage pond aerator. You know, the pooper scooper. Oh, it is a beautiful day though. Thank you, God. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, by your grace, keeping us, my community, protected during that last wave of storms. Thank you, Lord. I love you. Let's take a walk on the mild side. Elrod, what you doing there, shacker-lacker? Elrod, kitty, 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 kitty. Elrod, come on over here. Come on over here, Elrod. Elrod, that, don't be picking on Spooky. Come on over. Come on over. Oh, you are the whiner boy, aren't you? What? You the whiner. You the whiner. I don't know what it is about you and Tabbies. Y'all some talkers, aren't you? Yeah. Spooky hardly says a word. Come on, buddy. I love you too, Elrod. Go over and play with your buddy Speedy. There's some food left. I gotta get the work done on that mower, change out the blades, and that, put me on some fresh ones. And mow grass again. Now, time to check on Gracie and Trixie. Oh, yep, they're in there.